What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the CaliKidOfficial Podcast. This is episode number 28, so let's get right into it. So this past week, Logic released his last project called No Pressure, 15 songs. It was a pretty dope album. It was a nice way to pretty much type his career. You know, his debut album was called Under Pressure, and then at the end of his career, he feels as though he's no longer under pressure because he's met all the expectations that I guess he had of himself. But let's dive into the album. Personally, my favorite records were GP4, Perfect, Dad Bod, Five Hooks, and Heard 'Em Say. On the GP4 record, he basically flipped a song by Outkast called Elevators, You and Me, which I thought was pretty dope. You know, he's spoken in a variety of different interviews about his influences, you know, Outkast being one of them. So I thought that was pretty dope. And then on the record, Open Mic / Aquarius 3 on the third verse, he uses the same flow that he used on the song Gone, which was on his album Under Pressure. And then he says, living like this is so crazy. Hip hop is amazing. One day you're on top and the next day want to erase them. But in the Gong song, he's like, living like this, life is so crazy. One minute you're on top and the next you're not there. But that was a pretty dope way to, you know, connect this album with his debut album. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then on like Soul Food 2, that was one of the records on Under Pressure. So this was a continuation of that song. He says, modern day rap is like a golden era spoof, which is true because if you look at it, like the majority of rap music today is pretty much copy and paste. There's a few people here and there that, you know, do their own thing, but for the most part it's very generic. But when you go back to the golden era of rap, you know, everybody had their own flows, their own style, their own cadences. And now because one particular sound is hot, you know, everybody's chasing it, whether it's the Migos sound or now the, you know, the UK or should I say the drill sound, whether it's mumble rapping, whether it's using auto tune on all his songs, you know. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And then on the record Five Hooks, he says, who gives a fuck about the leak when you got the whale? So this right here, he's basically saying, regardless of if your songs leak, if you have a rabid fan base that supports you, it's not going to matter if those songs leak because they're going to still support you at the end of the day, which I feel as though that's important. You have a lot of artists that have had their records leaked in recent memory, most notably Drake. Eminem has some records leaked. I think a lot of it has to do with them sharing their records on cloud services, which I don't think you should do, but when you're trying to get verses and stuff back, I think that's how they're sending them, so that's probably how they're getting hacked and leaked and whatnot. But moving on from that, he also did another sample on the record Man I Is. He samples the song Didn't You Know again. This will be the second time he's done that in his career. The first time was on the record Indica by Do, which I believe was on his Bobby Tarantino project. And it's also interesting because that record samples a song called Dream Flower by Tarika's Blue, but I guess apparently Erica owns the intellectual property to it, so he had to basically get it cleared by her in order for him to do it. But you know, she pretty much obliged. She's a fan of him. She actually tweeted out about the song, which I thought was pretty dope. But on the record, he actually talks about him discussing the conversation with her. He says, I just texted Erykah Badu to let her know what I'm going to do. Sample Dreamflower by Tarika Blue. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then you had the song Dad Bod. This basically is talking about how he's, you know, a father now. And you know the thing, once you become a father, you let your body go because you're too busy taking care of your kids and whatnot. So I thought this was a pretty playful song. And on here he basically talks about how fans are complaining about him not rapping about what he's doing in his life. And so he basically goes on in a trolling manner, gives you an account of what his typical day is like. Like he says, he wakes up, you know, feeds his kid, whatnot. His wife might tell him to go to the store to get Pampers and stuff. He goes to the store and people might want to take pictures and stuff with him, but he too busy looking for diapers and whatnot. So That was a pretty cool record. And then on the record Dark Places, he basically talks about being depressed and the burden of dealing with online criticisms. As he said, a lot of the criticisms online about him was very negative, and it put him in this dark place, and that's why his online presence wasn't as much as it was probably earlier in his life, because that had a bearing on his mental psyche. So this was a record, basically like an introspective record, and then the record ends with an expert from someone by the name of Alan Watts, who asks if one needs all the things they think they need in order to be happy. Because Logic says that before he, blew up and got all the riches and stuff, he thought those are the things that he wanted and needed in life. And he says that now that he has it, he realizes that life is about, being true to yourself and being happy with yourself. Yeah, you have these materialistic things, but at the end of the day, even though you may have that, you might be in a situation to where mentally, all the things you get from having that isn't good for you. So, I thought that was a pretty interesting record. And then we had Heard Him Say. He discusses, all the criticisms he has at himself, and he uses the record to empower the listener to don't pay much attention to that. Focus on yourself. Have tunnel vision, if you will. So this was basically like an encouragement type of record. And then the album, is wrapped up nice and tight with the record Obediently Yours, and it's basically a monologue from someone by Orson Welles, and it basically talks about everything going on in today's society. So overall, the project was dope. It was very dope. This was one of his best bodies of work that he's put out. Um, and I gave the project a 9.3 out of 10. So for me, I only had one skip, and that was the song Celebration. But other than that, I liked every other song on here. And it's pretty interesting. When I first heard of Logic, I was on the website Hot New Hip Hop. This was way, way back, like the early 2010s when I was in college. And I was looking for some new music, and I was scrolling down, and it said Logic Tic Tac Toe, and it had a hot rating by it. And then, I listened to that song. I was like, okay, he got something. Then I went back and listened to all his earlier work, Young, Broken, Infamous, Young Sinatra Undeniable, Welcome to Forever, all of those projects. And the elevation from then until now is, phenomenal. So this was a great way for him to wrap up his career. I know a lot of people was like, what happened to Ultra 85? And in a sense, he kind of like told us what Ultra 85 was with like these two songs on here. I'm guessing those two songs was Ultra 85. So that's pretty much that as far as his project. If you guys haven't checked it out, check it out for yourself, and listen to it and see what you guys think about it. But moving on from that, we have the next versus battle. We're going to be getting 2 Chainz versus Rick Ross, and it's slated to take place August 6th, 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern time. It's going to be a battle between ATL Georgia versus Carroll City, Florida. Personally, I kind of think that this might be like a mismatch because Ross's catalog is very extensive. 2 Chainz, he's had a lot of rebranded moments, He was known as Titty Boy, then the transition into 2 Chainz, his time with the Dungeon Family, his time with New Player Circle, and then his solo career. So he got some joints too, so it might be closer than people think. It all depends on, what records you put together. Because, the battle between Jadakiss and Fabulous, a lot of people thought Fabulous was going to watch Jada because he has a lot of the big singles, but the battle ended up playing in Jadakiss's in his favor, and he ended up winning the battle. So this one might be closer than people think, but I still think Ross might take it, even though Chainz got joints too. He got Duffel Bag Boy, No Lie, the birthday song, I'm Different, I love them strippers. Riot, that song he did with 50 Cent. Dope Peddler. Uh, Blue Cheese. I mean, he got some joints, so it's gonna be close. And speaking of verses, apparently the website basically put together a hypothetical Tupac versus Big versus battle. You know, that would have been dope if both of them were still alive. But let's get into it. So they put together 20 records from both. So in round one, they put California Love versus Going Back to Cali. That one would go to Pac. Then Dear Mama versus Miss You. Dear Mama is winning that, so 2-0. Hit 'em Up versus Who Shot Ya. 3-0 for Pac. I Get Around versus Players Anthem. That's 4-0 for me. Some people might score that one a big. How Do You Want It versus Only You remix. How do you want it? Both of those is dope. Only You probably. So that might be a 4-1 right there. Keep Your Head Up versus Sky's the Limit. I'm giving that to Pac, so 5-1. Ain't Mad at Ya versus What's Beef. That can go either way. I ain't mad at ya. I ain't mad at ya. So I'll probably say 6-1. Ambitions as a Writer versus Kick in the Door. I'm giving that to Pac. So 7-1. Two of America's Most versus More Money, More Problems. I'm giving that to Pac. So 8-1. Me and My Girlfriend versus Me and My Bitch. That one I probably might go to Big. So 7-2. Picture Me Rolling versus Hypnotized. That's going to Big. So 7-3. Temptations versus Notorious Thugs. That's going to Big. 7-4. Against All Odds versus Juicy. That's going to Big. 7-5. So he's starting to make a comeback down the stretch right here. Then we have All Eyes on Me versus Unbelievable. I'm giving that to Pac. So 8-5. Brenda's Got a Baby versus I Got a Story to Tell. Pac. 9-5. To Live and Die in LA versus Big Papa. I love it when you call me Big Papa. Throw your hands in the air if you's a true player. To live and die in LA. That song is so sad. It every time you hear that song, that shit make you sad. I would probably get out a tie. It all depends on what type of mood you want. Do you want a feel good record that's gonna put you in your feelings? Then you might give it the Pac. If you want a record that's gonna make you bounce and start partying, then you're gonna get that to Big. So that one I would say a tie. So I think I had it 7-5, 8-5. I don't remember. Then we have So Many Tears versus 10 Crack Commandments. Both of those is classic. Most people probably give that to 10 Crack Commandments. So I'll put that as a tie. Me Against the World versus Warning. I give that to Pac. I Got My Mind Made Up versus I Love the Dough. Pac. Hail Mary versus One More Chance. Both of those, man, I love both of those records. Hail Mary, come with me. I ain't a killer, but don't push me. Revenge is like the sweetest joy next to getting pussy. Picture paragraphs unloaded. Wise words being quoted. Peek the witness in a rap getting sold. Bow down. Give me one more chance. You see, that's another one. What you want to feel. So I'll get at a tie. But overall, Pac won this one probably by like 3 to 5 rounds based off of this list. But that would have been interesting if both of them were, still alive. Speaking of this, I put out a video a year ago about the top MCs. I basically did like a research project and compiled the top MCs based on their body of work in terms of classic albums and mixtapes. That was the first, criteria. Then below that, lyricism, then impact and hit. So if you guys want to check that out, it's on my channel page under my music review playlist. You should see it. But moving on from that into the 2020 MTV, you know, VMA nomination. So that's set to take place August 30th at 8 p.m. I wonder, are they going to treat this like how BET did, where they did like filmed performances and piece it together? I think that's what they might do, because you know people can't gather in buildings and stuff like that due to what's going on. But first category got video of the year: Billie Eilish, Everything I Wanted; Eminem, Godzilla; Future featuring Drake, Life is Good; Lady Gaga, Rain on Me; Taylor. A lot of the front. What I think for the most part with these is I think they take like probably the most viewed videos, because some of these shouldn't even be here. If you're gonna make a category about video of the year, it should be about how the video is, you know, visually, like the visual effects, the story within the video, things of that nature. Some of these shouldn't be up there, but if I had to guess, it might get us to Eminem. Either Eminem or probably Billie Eilish. Artist of the year: The Baby, Justin Bieber, Lady Gaga, Meg Thee Stallion, Post Malone, The Weeknd. Let's see. So this is going to be for last year. The Baby probably had the biggest year last year out of all these people. Lady Gaga just came back this year with her album Chromatica. Meg had a big year as well, but not as big as The Baby. So I would probably say this should go to The Baby. Song of the year: Billie Eilish, Everything I Wanted; Doja Cat, Say So; Lady Gaga. I don't think they're gonna give it to her because of her comments online. Doja Cat. Rain on Me by Lady Gaga; Savage, that was a big record. The Box was the biggest record last year, so it's more than likely going to go to Roddy Ricch. If not Roddy Ricch, then probably Rain on Me. If not Rain on Me, then Savage. Best collaboration: Ariana Grande and Justin Bieber, Stuck With You. That's the record they used to finesse Billboard, and now I think the companies and stuff is cracking down on that in terms of bundling, because people was finessing their spots on the Billboard charts. What else we got? Black Eyed Peas, Ritmo; Beautiful People, Ed Sheeran; Future versus Future and Drake, Life is Good. I can name a bunch of records that was better than a lot of these, but more than likely this is going to Rain on Me. If not Rain on Me, then it's going to the Stuck With You record. Push, Best New Artist, presented by Chime Banking: Doja Cat, Jack Harlow, Louis Capaldi, Roddy Ricch, Tate McRae, Youngblood. Roddy Ricch had the biggest year out of all those artists, so it should go to him. Best Pop: BTS, On, Halsey, You Should Be Sad, Jonas Brothers, What a Man Gotta Do, Justin Bieber featuring Quavo, Intentions. That was a pretty interesting record. Lady Gaga, Rain on Me, Taylor. Yeah, so Lady Gaga and Ariana, they're gonna clean up at this award. They probably gonna give that one to them as well. Best Hip Hop: The Baby, Bop, Eminem, Godzilla, Future, Life is Good, Meg, Savage, Roddy Ricch, The Box, Travis Scott, Highest in the Room. Personally, I can see this going to The Baby, Roddy Ricch. Those two were very big records. Savage was big as well. Those other records was cool, but more than likely this is either going to The Baby or Roddy Ricch, because both of those records were bigger than all those other records on here. Best Rock: I don't know. I don't listen to them. Best Alternative: Bloody Foul. Who knows? Best Latin: Anuel, Daddy Yankee, Ozuna, Karol G, J Balvin, China, Bad Bunny, Yo Pedro Sola. Black Eyed Peas featuring Ozuna and J Ray So, Mamacita, J Balvin, Amarillo. Karol G, Nicki Minaj, Tusa, Maluma, J Balvin, K Pina. It look like no matter who wins, J Balvin's gonna come away with an award because he's on most of these songs. But they probably gonna give it to either the Bad Bunny record or probably the China record with all the Latin superstars on there. Best R&B: Alicia Keys, Underdog, Chloe and Haley, Do It, Her featuring YG, Slide, Khalid featuring Summer Walker, 11, Lizzo, Cause I Love You, The Weeknd, Blinding Lights. They gonna get that to The Weeknd. Best K-pop: G Idol, Oh My God, BTS, On, EXO, Obsession, Masa X, Someone, Tomorrow X Together, Red Velvet, Psycho. That Obsession, that was dope. Monster X, they had some dope records on their project as well. I would say either BTS or EXO is gonna win that. Video for Good: Anderson .Paak, Lockdown, Billie Eilish, All the Good Girls Go to Hell. How is that video for good? No, I'm just kidding. But Demi Lovato, I Love Me, Her, I Can't Breathe, Little Baby, The Bigger Picture, Taylor Swift, The Man. So basically, these was all the videos made during the lockdown thing. Personally, I think Little Baby should win this win this award. I like that, The Bigger Picture. But they might, give it to Anderson .Paak. Best music video from home: 5 Seconds of Summer, Wildflower, Ariana Grande and Justin Bieber, Stuck With You, No. Blink 182, Happy Days, Drake, Tootsie Slide, John Legend, Bigger. That's going to Drake. If that ain't going to Drake, that's robbery. Not only was it, a big song, but it was a big song, while in quarantine, as well as it had a dance to it. And you know how those songs that got dances to it go. They last a lot longer. So I see Drake winning that record. Best quarantine performance: Do It by Chloe and Haley, Cienko, Unplugged at Home, DJ D Nice, Club MTV presents John Legend, Together at Home concert series, Lady Gaga, Smile for One World, Together at Home, Post Malone. I don't know. I haven't seen any of those. If anything, best quarantine performer should go to probably one of the versus battles. Either that or Quarantine Radio. I know people don't want to talk about Tory Lanez because of what's going on, but until you hear, all the facts, you can't make an assumption on what happened. But personally, this probably might go to Post Malone. DJ D Nice, I do remember him being like one of the first ones to do like that at home stuff, so maybe they might give it to him. Who knows? Best Direction: Billie Eilish, Zanny, Doja Cat, Say So, Dua Lipa, Don't Start Now, Harry Styles, Adore You, Taylor Swift, The Man, The Weeknd, Blinding Lights. What do they mean by best direction? Like best concept? If it's that, Billie Eilish, she has good concepts within her musical treatments. I can also see this going to Taylor Swift and The Weeknd. So those are my 3 picks. Say So could win, but with the backlash that she got, she probably won't get the award. You know how that goes. Best cinematography: 5 Seconds of Summer, Old Me, Camila Cabello, My Oh My. That was a pretty interesting video. I did a reaction to that. Billie Eilish, All the Good Girls Go to Hell, Katy Perry, Harley's in Hawaii, Lady Gaga, Rain on Me, Blinding Lights. Yeah. Once again, Lady Gaga and Ariana's probably going to win that. Best art direction: A$AP Rocky, Babushka Boy. Basically, a babushka is the head garments that they wear within, I believe that's like in Russia and stuff like that, they wear those garments, over there in that region. Dua Lipa, Physical, Harry Styles, Adore You, Miley Cyrus, Mother's Daughter, Selena Gomez, Boyfriend, Taylor Swift, Lover. I don't know. I've only seen one of those music videos, so who knows who's going to win that. Best visual effects: Billie Eilish, All the Good Girls Go to Hell, Demi Lovato, I Love Me, Physical, Adore You. Yeah, it looks like I would give this a Travis Scott. That Highest in the Room MV, that was put together phenomenally. So I would say Travis Scott wins that one. Best choreography. Now there's gonna be some competition. We got BTS with on, K-pop groups. They choreography be on point. Cienco, Honey Boo. I did a reaction to that. That was a dope song. They had some interesting moves. Oh, Kyle Hanagami, huh? He's one of the he's a famous, choreographer. The Baby, Bop, Dua Lipa, Physical, Lady Gaga, Rain on Me, Normani, Motivation. This gotta go to The Baby. That was a masterpiece. The way they was getting down with that, and then they brought in the Jabberwockies too. If this don't go to The Baby, this is a robbery. Motivation was dope too. I've seen most of these videos, but I would say The Baby should win in that, hands down. Not only was it a moment, but they even performed the entire thing live, like the entire setup of the video live too. So that's crazy. Best editing, House at Graveyard, James Blake, Can't Believe the Way We Flow, Lizzo, Good as Hell, Miley Cyrus, Mother's Daughter, Rosalia, Apele, The Weeknd, Blinding Lights. I've seen Apele. That was a pretty interesting video, so I would probably give it to Rosalia on that one. So yeah, that's pretty much all the nominations for the VMAs. We'll see which of my picks are correct and which ones are wrong when that airs. But moving away from that, so apparently T.I. and Jeezy had a chance to sit down with one another on his podcast Expeditiously, which they haven't aired it yet. I guess they just put this out there to tease people. But basically, one of the conversations was about the third member of the Mount Rushmore of trap music being Gucci Mane, and what it would take for them to get together and squash their beef. If you guys don't know about the beef between them, apparently Jeezy and Gucci got into a situation to where Jeezy hired some people to set up and rob Gucci Mane. Things went sideways, and one of the dudes ended up getting killed, and then diss records and everything else popped off. But let's look at the sit down with them.
Now, we can't have that conversation without addressing the elephant in the room.
Okay.
There's a third member of the Mount Rushmore of trap music that either one of us don't really, care to mention or speak to that much. Now, what do you think is necessary to bring that shit together, if anything? And I understand we dealing with somebody who temperamental themselves, and
Yeah, that old Gucci was no joke. His temper was bad, but this is new Gucci, so he probably still gonna say fuck it.
Best
but
case
who
scenario,
knows?
How could that shit happen? Because that, to be honest with you, that's the biggest motherfucking move for trap music that can happen.
Yeah, imagine that. Tip, Jeezy, and Gucci on a record.
Gotta be one of them mafia backroom conversations, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it gotta really be a convo. I mean, what I've learned.
Call a record Mount Trapmore or
big business.
Trap Rushmore or something. Who knows?
Went to Yale still do business with people that went to Harvard.
That makes sense.
You know what I mean? So it's just one of them real convos, man. It's been decades.
Yeah. I mean, we talking about Gucci, by the way, just for those of y'all who don't know. And I mean, like, to be honest with you, like, I ain't, like, for real, I think Cuz looked at me a certain way because I stand solid with you.
Right.
You dig what I'm saying?
Which I'm going to get bored to that. I'm going to actually play the record.
You know what I'm saying? So that was always my position. Even though I tried
so if you guys are watching on YouTube, you won't be able to hear it, but you'll be able to hear it on Spotify and stuff. So once I play that record.
But I think that for the people of trap music, it's hard. Like, even like, for instance, in the Trap Music Museum,
right?
I'm not going to do a Trap Music Museum and try to leave a nigga out. Like, to me, that's hating.
Right.
You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah, that
so
would be hating.
Inclusive.
And it would discredit it as well. So you pretty much have no choice.
From a place of logic. You know what I'm saying? So, logically, is there ever a time where the three of us could sit in a room and walk out and say, man, that shit dead?
Well, to be honest, to keep it all the way solid, like me.
And so basically he goes on to say they have to have like some type of mafia like sit down, which, That is something they're gonna have to do. Some get together with no cameras, you know, no weapons or nothing like that, or nothing crazy, and discuss, their differences. But it's gonna take a lot because a lot was said in that diss record by Gucci. So So that's the part right there where Tip was like, I think he felt some type of way when I stood by you. Yeah, dude pulled up at pulled up at a party with a black pole fit, ready to get it popping off if need be because of what happened. Apparently Jeezy hired some people, gave them 10 bands to set up a situation and it backfired and a dude ended up getting smoked. And Gucci beat that case because it was self-defense. Yeah. See, a lot of the shit was said, so it's gonna take a lot. It's gonna take a lot for him to bury that. Yeah, we got reform Gucci, but remember, it's still Gucci. So, see right there, he say, for me to do the song with you, I wouldn't even smoke no bud with you. So, at that point, but Jeezy did say that they were close to having a conversation before Gucci got locked up. So maybe he might change his mind, maybe not. Who knows? Yeah, 5 dudes and a girl. The girl was sitting there as bait to lure his guard down. And the 5 dudes was gonna go in there and, take care of him, and it backfired on him. He had that thing on him. If he didn't, it would have been a whole different situation. But yeah, it's gonna take a lot for them to try to squash that. Moving on from that into sports, we got some new deals popping off. Jamal Adams has been traded from the Jets to the Seattle Seahawks in a deal for 2 first-round picks. So the deal is the Jets send Jamal Adams and a 22nd fourth-round pick to Seattle for a 2021 and 2022 first-round pick, a 2021 third-round pick, and safety Bradley McDougall. And this situation happened because Jamal Adams and Jets management basically fell out in a variety of instances. One being the direction of the organization. He feels as though the current head coach Gase isn't up to snuff with leading them in the right direction. Comments made by the owner, Woody Johnson. And and there was previous talks of the Jets trading him to the Cowboys as well. So that's another thing that made this deal go through. And if you look at the deal, the Seattle pretty much pulled off highway robbery with this deal. You get 2 first-round picks, an additional third-round pick. I mean, not Seattle. The Jets pulled off highway robbery. They get 2 first-round picks, a third-round pick, and a safety. So I think they gave up too much. Personally, I think I would have traded maybe a first and a player, but not 2 firsts, a third, and a player. That's way too much. But I think Pete is trying to rebuild that Legion of Boom. That's that. Also, Joey Bosa of the Chargers secures a new deal worth 5 years at $135 million, which will come out to about $27 million per year. $102 million is guaranteed, and $78 million is guaranteed at the signing. So, hats off to him. He's going to be with them for the foreseeable future. Joe Burrow, the winner of the Heisman Trophy as well as the National Championship, finally signs his rookie deal. It's 4 years at $36.1 million. It includes a 5th-year option, and it basically comes out to about $9.25 per year. And he signs a $23.88 million signing bonus, which will be received within 15 days of the deal. So, several players getting new deals. I think Patrick Mahomes was like the first one to really be the new big deal before the start of the season. So, hats off to these players. And Antonio Brown finally gets an answer from the NFL. So apparently they came to an agreement and they've suspended him for 8 games. And he could be suspended for an additional more games if other things are found out or whatever. And this takes effect September 5th. He can still sign to a team and participate in training camp, but he is going to be suspended 8 games. Personally, I think this is bullshit. For one, there's no evidence of him doing anything wrong outside of him having that incident with the moving people. Basically, someone came out, made an allegation against him. So far, there's been no proof of anything of him doing that. And it's been, almost a year since this situation popped off. So I think that's kind of effed up because he's already missed, I believe, 14 or 15 games the last season. Now he has to miss an additional 8 games. I don't think that's a fair thing to levy against him. But the article says he was notified by Todd Jones. He's suspended without pay for the first 8 games. He'd be eligible to return after the team's 8th game. As part of discipline, he has to go through counseling and treatment. All this is bullshit. It's like a person could come out, say you did something, and then you're penalized for it without there even being any proof of you doing it. And you basically go through this crusade of trying to clear your name. In the meantime, you losing money and endorsements and stuff. I don't think that's cool. if everything levied against him turns out to be a lie, I think the people who lie should be put in prison and fined, because I don't think it's cool that people can get away with doing stuff like that. But moving on from that, we finally get an update in UFC and returns to Khabib's return. So he's going to be returning to fight Justin Gaethje for the lightweight title. Is going to be on October 24th. So a little under 3 months away, we will get that battle. So that's pretty interesting. Originally, I think it was supposed to be Tony Ferguson, but he got beat up bad in his last bout. Conor wants another crack at Khabib. Some guy called Conor out. Conor accepted, but we finally get that. Fight. Also in the news, apparently some music producer basically put his foot in his mouth by making comments about the Breonna Taylor situation. In so many words, he basically said that although she was killed, what do you expect when you're using your house as a drug spot, which was factually incorrect, and he pretty much got flame broiled online for his troubles and got a digital spanking for, speaking about something he wasn't informed on. And that's a lesson to people: don't speak on something you don't know anything about. So yeah, these is basically all of his tweets. He says, it's terrible Breonna lost her life, and I said earlier I believe the cops may have mishandled the raid and been too aggressive after being fired on. With that being said, what is the punishment the world is calling for? Those men were on the job and have families too. Fuck that. Those people on the job should have did their due diligence and made sure that the apartment that they were trying to serve that no-knock warrant to was the correct apartment, which they didn't. So everybody involved in that deserved to pay the piper in terms of a punishment. Blah, blah, blah. He does it typical, if I anger anyone, I apologize. Apparently he's worked with some artists or whatever, people are coming out saying to cancel. One user says, he is another example of why black folks and hip-hop in general need to stop allowing outsiders to feel like they got the right to comment on any damn thing involving a culture. You are a guest and now you're excused. Yeah, don't comment on something if you're not directly involved in it, affected by it, or informed on it. Because you get these type of situations. JW actually amazes me how you can be in such a predominantly black industry and still find any way you can to justify the killing or defending killers of an unarmed sleeping black woman. Yeah, there's no justification for that. Period. So that's pretty much all I gotta say about that. Hopefully he learns his lesson with that. Don't speak on things you know nothing about, and it'd be good for your health. So moving on from that, Microsoft is looking to acquire TikTok. So if you don't know, TikTok is a company who's owned by Chinese investors. Before it was TikTok, it was known as Musical.ly. That's what it was called. So it was the app was called Musical.ly, but it was acquired by Chinese investors, looking to put their foothold into the U.S., and they rebranded it into TikTok. So ByteDance is the parent company, and ByteDance in itself is a Chinese company. So basically what the U.S. is doing is they basically are trying to ban the app due to them feeling as though it's being used to spy on Americans and whatnot and steal information, as though the U.S. don't do that with the apps that they have themselves. If you've been paying attention to the news, all the big major corporations are in form of a judicial hearing because of their spying and information practices. So that's pretty much a cop out. And so instead of banning it, what's going to happen is a U.S. company is going to pretty much force the Chinese company to either sell its U.S. assets, or risk it being permanently banned in the U.S., which most of the big users on the app are U.S. based. And TikTok has set out to pay its users as well with a fund that they put aside. So So the article says Microsoft is in talks to acquire the app. It's unclear how advanced the talks are, but any deal could alter TikTok's ownership. TikTok is owned by ByteDance, a Chinese internet company valued at $100 billion. And so that affiliation is what raises scrutiny because, with everything going on, says it poses a threat to national security. The Trump administration has been weighing whether to order ByteDance to divest from American assets they acquired in 2017 or, ban it permanently. Trump administration has also been weighing other potential actions against the company, including adding ByteDance to so-called entity lists, which prevents foreign companies from purchasing American products and services without a special license. We're looking at TikTok. We may be banning TikTok, Mr. Trump told reporters on Friday. We may be doing some other things. I mean, Microsoft could possibly buy it, and that would give Microsoft a foot into the social media game, because they're getting crushed in that area, I do believe. So that would give them a foot in that area, and that would probably drive their stock up as well. Executives at TikTok have discussed other scenarios to alleviate regulator concerns, including one in which American investors like Sequoia Capital and General Atlantic could purchase TikTok back from ByteDance. People familiar with these discussions have said the Chinese company retained a minority stake in this. That's still dumb. So basically, they want the app because it's so big and powerful and it has influence to be, mostly in the hands of a U.S. based company as opposed to the Chinese. All this is politics coming into place. Several U.S. apps do the same thing that they're accusing the Chinese government of doing. So we'll just have to, monitor this situation, see what happens with that. Because you can't really force somebody to sell their company if they don't want to. And if they don't sell it, they're going to ban it from the country. Well, U.S. isn't the only market. It might have the biggest creators. So that might give them incentive to sell. And then, of course, if that was to happen, Triller stands to gain from this as well, because Triller and TikTok are rivals in that sense. But moving on from this into TV, we got a new docuseries put out by Master P. It basically documents the beginning of the No Limit label as you know it today. So it airs every Wednesday on BET Plus, and I had a chance to watch the first episode, and it was very informative, very dope. It opened up talking about a variety of things like how they came up with the logo for No Limit being a tank, and that comes from his family being heavily involved in the armed forces, so that's where they got that from. And then from there, talking about how he got his start in the music, him being in a group with a couple of people, people not believing in the group, to him buying a record company, to him sleeping in the back of the record company with his son Romeo at the time, to his grandfather getting sick and they ended up giving his grandfather somebody else's medicine, which ended up killing him. They ended up getting a settlement from that, and that's how he was able to purchase that record store. And then from that to him going to Houston to play basketball, him getting an injury and having to come back home and figure out what he was going to do, to finally building some steam and moving out to Richmond, California, and sending it for his family to move down there. And everybody came but one of his brothers, and the brother that ended up staying back ended up getting killed. So it's a lot. It was a lot in that first episode. There was also an incident where they were at some club and things was popping off. P went back to the car to get the Tech 9, and he kept trying to fire it, but it wouldn't shoot. And then once they got away from the club, and he fired it into the air, and it shot off. So that was basically like God, stepping in for him not to throw his life away. So it was a lot in that very first episode. I'm anxious for the next episode. As I said, it airs every Wednesday on BET Plus. So if you guys haven't seen it, make sure you guys check it out. And that's going to pretty much do it for this week's podcast. I appreciate you all for tuning in. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you leave a like and a comment below. If you're listening on Spotify and everywhere else, I also appreciate you all for tuning in. And until the next one, peace.
CaliKid Official.